Good afternoon. I'm Staff Sergeant Brian Nygaard, and I'm here with Sergeant Anthony Davis and Sergeant Teliah Oliver. And we just got done working at a local nature preserve where we were combating an invasive species that was apparently hurting the ecosystem there and not allowing a lot of other plants and wildlife to thrive. So we rooted that out, did a lot of restoration work in there. So I have two canvassing recruiters with me today, Sergeant Davis and Sergeant Oliver. And tell us, guys, Marines fight, and we win our nation's battles. But why were we out here today planting trees?
Well, like you said, Marines and veteran Marines, we do fight. We do win our battles, but at the same time, we like to come out with the community, get shoulder to shoulder, and help each other out by winning back our community by being able to remove these invasive plants and things like we did today and bring the community back to where it needs to be.
Awesome, awesome. All right. Well, tell me, guys, what are some of the reasons that you give back?
Well, personally, I give back because I know that I didn't really come from much growing up, and seeing as I've had some of the opportunities that the Marine Corps has given me, allowing me to travel and things like that, I've seen a lot of places that just need help, and it's my way to help just restore what is and show people who we are.
Okay, awesome. How about yourself?
For me, like she was saying, I kind of agree with her. It was the same thing for me, being able to come back to the community and just to be able to be a part of the big picture. I wanted to make sure I contributed to what was going on. So,
awesome, awesome. Now, tell me this: is volunteering a requirement in the Marine Corps?
Now, volunteering is not a requirement in the Marine Corps, but a lot of the Marines, we are leaders, so we do like to come out on our free time and actually get into the community and actually be hands-on.
Yeah, no, that's it.
All right. So, you guys are canvassing recruiters, and that job involves going out into the communities, the schools every day, looking for young men and women who are willing to, accept the challenge of becoming a United States Marine and fight and win our nation's battles. Do you have a lot of free time in order to volunteer?
Oh yes, we do have a decent amount of free time. Now that, of course, depends on whether or not the type of job that you have, your role within your job. But myself, I volunteer to to coach my son's flag football team on the weekends. So you do have free time.
How about yourself, Sergeant Oliver?
Yeah, same. I mean, he hit the nail on the head. It obviously does depend on your job, but whether it be out here in recruiting or, in the Fleet Marine Corps, there's always the time. You just have to be willing to put forth the effort. Absolutely.
Excellent, excellent. So, as a canvassing recruiter here in the, greater Atlanta area, what is your day-to-day life like?
Well, like you mentioned, Cesar, it really starts with, getting up every day with a positive mental attitude. And I believe that starts. There's no cookie cutter template for being a recruiter, but it's just engaging with the community. So engaging with the youth, as well as, graduates in the area, and just talking to as many people as possible, honestly.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so we're out here today. We're all wearing like Marine Corps T-shirts and everything like that. But do you guys have to wear your Marine Corps uniform, camis, or dress uniform or service uniform when you're out volunteering in the community?
It depends on the event and the type of volunteer event it is. So most cases when we're out doing stuff like this, we get to dress how we want to dress. And our civvies come out, wear our favorite teams. But when you're doing something that's a little more like, say, Marine Week or Fleet Week or something like that, yes, you're going to want to represent the Marine Corps the formal way, and you're going to show up in your dress blues and make sure you're nice and pretty.
Nice. Yeah, nice and pretty. I like that.
Nice and pretty.
Nice and pretty.
All right, so the Marine Corps teaches us a lot of things. It gives us a lot of skills. It teaches us leadership, teaches us endurance, resilience, all those great things. However, how do Marines take those skills and use them to help improve the communities?
Okay. I kind of feel like that one is super easy. And what I mean by that is I tell people all the time, being a Marine, first and foremost, is just being a good person. We try to cultivate an environment where we create better members of society. We want to return our young men and women back to the community better than what they came as. So the leadership skills that we teach, the community outreach and involvement, the discipline, the bearing, it's all ingrained in us. You don't join the Marine Corps. You become a Marine. And after you're a Marine, you go back into the community a better person you've ever been. So
how can, Marines and people who are aspiring to Marines and just, regular citizens, how can they get involved in volunteering events such as these?
So the way citizens and Marines like myself can get involved in these type of events, as a Marine, you can talk to your command and say, hey, I want to be a part, I want to do more than what I'm doing, and they'll make that happen for you. Now, as police, and those are young men that's already taking on the challenge to wanting to become a Marine, you can come to your recruiter, and we'll put you on to what's going on within the community. Now, for citizens, it's multiple ways. You can call 1-800-MARINES, or you can go to marines.com. If you just want to be more local, you can reach out to your local organizations and ask them, hey, what type of events you got going on? I want to come out. I want to be a part of the community. I want to do more.
Awesome. So, question for both of y'all, all right? Just be honest. Why did each one of you choose to become a Marine?
So I take that on first. So the reason I decided to become a Marine was, for me, it was a big thing. I wanted to be better. I was a little bit older when I came in, so I had to set the example for my, at that time, 2-year-old son, and I wanted to get help on being able to gain that leadership, be able to gain those different traits that I felt like I needed in order to be able to be who I wanted to be for my son. So when I came in, that was the big driving force for me.
And for me, initially, I was actually not that old. I was 17 years old. I joined right out of high school. I knew I wanted to go to college and I wanted to have a better future, but more than that, I wanted structure. I wanted discipline. I was already in ROTC or JROTC in high school, and I kind of knew that I was okay with leadership, but I wanted a challenge. I wanted physical discipline. I wanted things that I didn't feel like I would get just going straight to college, and I was the oldest of 3, and I needed to set the example. So the Marines it was the right choice for me.
So kind of tapping in along that same vein, and not saying anything against the other services,
not at all.
Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, and everything. We are joint force. It's one team, one fight. But why, in particular, did you guys choose the Marines?
First and foremost, the uniforms. It was the uniform. My recruiter, he approached me, and he just looked sharp, and he looked disciplined. And I will never forget the day that the recruiter spoke to me for the very first time. He looked clean, and he looked professional, and I wanted that in my life. I wanted to be that person that could walk into a room, and people know that I stood for something greater than just me. So.
How about yourself?
And for myself, the main thing that stood out about the Marines was the professionalism. Like I said, I was an older guy when I came in, so it meant a lot to me knowing that when I spoke with them, I was getting the truth, and they wasn't beating around the bush. They got to the point, and they was professional with me, and that's what I was looking for out of a conversation when I approached them.
Up front.
Upfrontness. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, we're getting some more questions in right now. Looking back, would either of you done anything differently?
To be honest, sometimes I think I probably could have came in a little earlier, because right now, I'd probably be a gunnery sergeant. But, I'm happy things played out the way that they did, simply because when I came in, I was more mature. So it made it, I feel like, a lot easier for me. And then I accepted the challenge of being able to keep up with the younger guys and things. So I think that benefited me a lot.
Awesome.
For me, no, honestly. And that's not just something to say just because. I joined when I was 17 years old, and it gave me a foundation structure. My parents raised me right. I always said, yes, ma'am, no, sir, the whole 9. But in the end, I really feel like the Marines helped to develop me into an adult, develop me into a professional, productive member of society. So I don't think I would have changed anything.
Absolutely. Grow pretty quick in the Marines. All right. I have a young man, John, asking, what week of recruit training was toughest for you guys? The toughest part of boot camp?
For me, it was probably swim qual.
That's what I was going to say.
Swim qual. I'm not a fish. I'm not a swimmer. But I was terrified of the water because I just really wasn't accustomed to it. But for the most part, yeah, swim qual.
And, I would agree. I was an Iron Duck. But outside of the swim quality, the other thing that was difficult for me was probably within the second week, I would say. And reason being, with me being older, it took a lot for me to humble myself and understand that, I'm new to the Marine Corps. I've lived life a long time, but Marines, that was new to me, so I had to learn a lot.
For those of you who don't know, within recruit training, we teach every recruit prior to them graduating how to swim, because we are an amphibious force. We work with the Navy, ship to shore. That's kind of our bread and butter. So swimming is a must. And for those that go to recruit training and don't know how to swim, there is, an intensive process that, not intensive process, but a remediation process that allows you to, learn how to swim. So no one graduates from there. Yeah. No, regardless of where you might stand, some of us grew up near bodies of water, some of us didn't.
Yeah.
So, you will graduate with being able to swim. So, moving on to other questions, how are you assigned an MOS in the Marine Corps? And if you can, tell me what your MOSs are.
Okay, so being assigned an MOS in the Marine Corps, right? It all starts with your ASVAB score. So study. Make sure you study for the ASVAB if you ever consider trying to become within any branch. Just make sure you study that ASVAB because that determines what job you will be able to qualify for. Now, myself, I am a 7D11, which is an expeditionary airfield technician. Primarily, right now, I am currently a recruiter, like we stated at first, but being a expeditionary airfield technician, what we do is we do emergency arresting with jets, anything that has a tail hook on it, and we also put down portable runways in the middle of nowhere to get our Marines closer to the fight without necessarily have to drop in right on top of the fight.
All right. And I am 0111 Personnel Administration. My job in the Marine Corps is no kidding.
Important.
It is no. It is very important. I actually do believe, some of the Marines they'll tell you otherwise, but I believe that my job is absolutely essential. And the reason is because it's taking care of Marines. Yeah. It's having the opportunity to directly affect someone's mood by affecting their pay and their promotion and their awards and updating their records and just making sure that the whole Marine is taken care of so that those Marines can go back out and do their job and get in the fight and stay in the fight.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Every unit in the Marine Corps has an admin section for
Yep.
records, administration,
Yep.
pay, and everything. We don't get paid without administration.
Yeah.
All right. So, question we always get, and a lot of this is for people that are aspiring to be Marines or members of the delayed entry program, is what advice can you give me or give young men and women about preparing for the Marine Corps?
For me, that is a question I get a lot, and my biggest and most number one, or however I want to say this, my number one response to that is just have heart. Never, ever, ever give up. You don't have to be the fastest. You don't have to be the strongest. You don't have to be the smartest. You just have to be the one that refuses to quit. And I promise you, if you're that person, you will make it, because that's the Marine Corps way. Just
I agree with her. Drive is a big thing. That's one of the key things that I look for within everyone that I decide I want to fit into the Marine Corps is drive, because that's what's going to get you through it. Other than that, what she said is correct.
Point. Oh. You hold on just for one moment and grab that real quick. All right. So should still be working if you can. Yeah, just palm that underneath there. All right. So we just had a little mess up. No big deal. We adapt and we overcome. We keep moving on. Yeah. All right. So within your Marine Corps career, speaking of adapting and overcoming, all right, what are some of the toughest challenges the toughest challenge that you've had to face thus far?
For me, the toughest challenge I've had to face was, missing my youngest son being born. I was on a deployment and I wasn't there to be able to support my wife the way that I wanted to. And things, but one of the things about Marines is you gain family, and I had a lot of fellow Marine wives that was there for my wife, and it's one big family, so they was there and they provided the support that she needed, and I came back home to a healthy 9-month-old son.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And for me, I think mine kind of just starts from the beginning. I've had a lot of various challenges throughout my Marine Corps career, but I will say that to date, the toughest thing that I've ever been through was recruit training. And honestly, it was just because it was a brand new experience. It was something that you've never done before. I've never been in that environment. I didn't know what to expect, and it was terrifying at first. But after I accomplished it, everything else in the Marine Corps I knew I could do, and I knew that I could overcome no matter what. So that was the start.
So if you could, tell me a little bit about the duty stations and assignments that you guys have had prior to coming on to recruiting duty.
Okay. So prior to coming here, I've been stationed in Quantico, Virginia at Marine Corps Embassy Security Group at the headquarters station as administration. I was also stationed in Fort Dix, New Jersey at a reserve base. And then the last duty station prior to coming here was Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
Hawaii was amazing.
Man, that's nice. Yeah. For myself, I was one of those lucky ones. I went to Miramar, San Diego, and it was a wonderful time. It was wonderful. I was there, stationed there the entire time until I came here. And, of course, while I was out there, I went on a few deployments, so I got to go to a lot of other countries and things. But I pretty much became a San Diegan, however you want to say it. I was there. Loved it. Yeah, that's how they.
Awesome. So you were in San Diego, 3rd Ma, and you deployed with them to, where did you deploy to?
We deployed out to Afghanistan. I've been to Bahrain. I've been there.
Oh, awesome, awesome. All right, so we have a username, Maximus, really interesting name. And it's asked a very important question. I'm sure you guys get this a lot, especially when you're talking with parents and influencers of prospective Marines. And he asks, is it better to enlist after high school or wait until after college?
Now, that's a tough question. It depends on your end goal, like your goals, where you want to see yourself within 5 years. Now, for me personally, I look at it like this. If you don't have college paid for, enlist in high school. Therefore, while you're in the Marines, you're getting college taken care of, and you're getting paid. But more importantly, you're learning a skill, you're learning a trade, and gaining experience that the guy that go to college first don't necessarily always get. Most of the time don't get. And then on top of that, you don't have debt.
Absolutely.
No, that's it.
Yeah, if I had to add one thing to that is I went to college right after high school, was a very poor student, dropped out, eventually enlisted in the Marines, and if I had to do it over again, I would have gone to the Marine Corps right after high school. Use the GI Bill, have all of my college tuition paid for. Big thing, another big question that we get is, how do you overcome feeling discouraged? Or more importantly, what motivates you?
Yeah,
Motivation.
We both like that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you get it first.
Just overcoming being discouraged. I'm glad we both got excited about that. I actually it's my personal mantra, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people know it, but it's I can, I must, I will. And basically what that means is every single time I find myself in an obstacle where I'm confused, I don't know if I can accomplish a task, or I don't know if I can do it, I tell myself I can do this no matter what it is. Because Gandhi said, there are two types of people, those who say I can and those who say I cannot. And usually both of them are right? So if you tell yourself that you can do something and you must do that task in order to achieve success, then tell yourself you will, and I promise you will.
Awesome.
I agree. For me, there's nothing. Hey, I'm going to get it done. Yeah. That's just it. I accept all challenges, and I'm going to get it done. I might cry about it a little bit at the beginning, but that's not going to stop me. And like I was saying before, it's just all about being driven. And me personally, it's a mental mindset. You got to have that mindset. If you got the mindset, anything you put your mind to, it'll get done.
Awesome. So, what was your proudest moment since you've been in the Marine Corps?
My proudest moment.
Don't think too hard.
Actually, you know what? Once I got out on recruiting, the first guy that I put in, that was probably one of my proudest moments. The first guy I put in, he was out of high school for 2 years.
First person that you put in the Marine
first
Corps?
guy I put into the Marine Corps, I recruited as a recruiter. He was working at a car wash, and he's been out of school for 2 years, living in a friend's basement and things, and now he's an aircraft mechanic, and he's in Japan, and he's doing big things with his life, and he'll be able to come back here to the Atlanta area and actually get a pretty nice job working for a lot of these big companies out here. And that was a proud moment for me because that was the first time I saw how much of an impact I, as an individual, as a Marine, could actually make on my community amongst young men and women. So, yeah, that was a proud moment for me, and I talk about it a lot.
So this young man went from working at a car wash, all right, to now he's an aircraft mechanic.
Aircraft mechanic.
Over in somewhere in probably Okinawa, Japan, or something like that. And when he gets out of the Marine Corps, whenever that is, he could probably go work for someplace like Delta or something like that.
Yes,
in the local area.
Lockheed.
Oh, that's awesome. How about yourself, Sergeant Oliver?
Yeah, you literally took the words out of my mouth. I was trying to think of my biggest accomplishment in the Marine Corps, and it's the same thing. I had the opportunity to meet a young lady. It was actually, I met her when I was out walking around. She actually lives with her father, and her father was in the Army, and he was about to be medically retired. And she didn't really have direction. She didn't necessarily have a plan or a goal. And now that young lady is in recruit training, Recruit Williams, and just seeing her transition from day one all the way to now, I'm so proud of her. And it's really like, you're like family. So it was amazing.
Excellent, excellent. Well, that's all the time we have here today. I thank you for joining us. Thank you for stopping by, and Semper Fidelis.
Semper Fi.
Semper Fi.